Now, there's no doubt about it that the future of the Star Wars universe seems to be quite expansive, not just with their books, novels, comics, and video games, but we also have a handful of Star Wars TV shows, Star Wars movies that are currently in development by Disney and Lucasfilm that will be unveiled at this year's and next year's Star Wars Celebration as well. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, we are getting very close to the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series, as well as the full-length trailer for the show, which, by the way, is all set and ready to begin by, of course, early May. It's very likely to be right around May the 4th, maybe even on the day of, it's very likely. But we have a lot of things happening at the same exact time between George, John, and Dave Filoni working on a lot of projects like The Mandalorian Season 3, the Ahsoka Tano series, and more to come as well. That's really going to give fans a brand new vision of the Star Wars universe. Essentially, what they are trying to do is that they are trying to do everything in their power to really bring Star Wars back to its roots, back to the vision of George Lucas and exactly, what it was all like with the original trilogy and how it was true to the overall philosophy of Star Wars. They want to stick with that, and they want to make sure that they stay as distant from Kathleen Kennedy as possible. And thankfully, she has no creative power over any of the Filoni and FAVREAU projects, or even many of the planned Deborah Chow TV shows that she will also be directing. So, with that being said, however, what's even all the more exciting has everything to do with exactly what's happening with the Star Wars lore. Now, we already know that there are going to be a lot of retcons that are going to be both, kind of skeptical to the fans as well as exciting to the fans, depending on who's creating them. However, when it all dwindles down to one Star Wars project and exactly how Lucasfilm plans on refilming a big portion of The Empire Strikes Back, this is where things begin to pick up. Now, with both Disney and Lucasfilm actively involved in multiple Star Wars TV shows and movies right now, creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are also beginning to work on creating multiple new storylines in the Star Wars universe that will also plan and, of course, cross different eras. Now, it's described, however, that currently Lucasfilm has a big plan to refilm a big portion of The Empire Strikes Back for a big and anticipated Star Wars TV show for Disney+. Now, further, it's noted that Lucasfilm is preparing to refilm one of the most iconic moments in The Empire Strikes Back. It's described that for the Ahsoka Tano TV series, both Jon Favreau and Filoni are getting ready to refilm the duel between both Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, an idea taken directly from J.J. Abrams and what he had originally wanted to do with The Force Awakens for Rey's vision. Now, this is described to also be used as some form of a moment in time that Ahsoka Tano will actually look into during her time in the world between worlds. Lucasfilm is getting ready to use the same deepfake technology that they used for Luke from Boba Fett, and how that will also be applied into the Ahsoka Tano series, where actor Hayden Christensen surprisingly is set to step back into the suit once again as Darth Vader to become a part of the overall vision. Now, let me just stop right there for 1 second. Now, this is going to be Ahsoka's big moment in which she finally gets to witness the duel between both Vader and Luke through the use of a portal/vision type of sequence. Now, we talked about this loosely a couple of months ago of how they were planning on refilming a big portion of Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi as well for, of course, the Ahsoka Tano series, specifically the duel between both Vader and Luke. And this, of course, is now going into fruition. It is going to be all done and filmed by June of this year. And we have, of course, the Ahsoka Tano series, in case you guys did not know, coming out in 2023. So this is not a project that's going to be unveiled this year. It's going to be a project that releases next year. And that, of course, is going to be the most anticipated show of 2023 without question. Kind of similar to how Kenobi is the most anticipated series because it has a lot to do with the Force, the Jedi, familiar faces, and how it is being treated as a direct sequel to Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Whereas the Ahsoka Tano series, it's going to be its own thing, but it's going to have a lot of connections to Star Wars Rebels, to all of the trilogy movies that are within the Skywalker saga, and a lot more than that as well. So moving on from all of this, alright, now John and Dave are planning on not only accurately refilming the entire duel between both Luke and Vader, but that they will also be giving fans different angles and views of the two engaging in their duel, along with brand new dialogue that will be used and considered as what happened in between their duel in the film when it cuts back to Han and Leia's portion of the story. Now, this is described to be Ahsoka's first time witnessing her master battling his son, as Ahsoka knows exactly who Vader is fighting. The entire scene is already storyboarded, and that there is a moment in which Ahsoka tries to reach her hand through the portal, just like Ezra Bridger did to change the outcome of Ahsoka. However, this, of course, outcome of the Vader versus Luke duel, however, Ahsoka is left to fail, where no changes are going to be made with Luke and/or Vader's fates. John and Dave are also set to refilm the entire sequence in which Vader reveals to Luke that he is the father of Luke, a moment in which Ahsoka is planned to become very emotional at this point in time. With the Ahsoka series set to make the Vader and Luke duel very cinematic and modern looking, John and Dave have no real intention of retconning or changing the outcome of the fight. However, and other than giving fans a retcon, of course, in other scenarios, but this, of course, specifically, John and Dave have no real intentions of changing anything, other than giving fans a modern version of this. Lucasfilm, of course, refilming The Empire Strikes Back ending is described to be a very involved filming stage, and will begin sometime by this June, before the show finally releases sometime in 2023. The scene is also going to involve Ezra Bridger watching all of this happen by Ahsoka's side. The scene is set to provide fans a brand new theme as well that will play along both Luke and Vader's duel. So let me just stop right here for 1 second before we move on to something that's even more exciting, is that given that the Ahsoka Tano series is going to take a lot of advantage of the world between worlds, and how it is going to be used as two different ways, of course, about doing this. There's going to be one way of using the world between worlds, one of which is going to be to show fans different ways of telling specific story elements of the original trilogy, starting off with the Empire Strikes Back duel between both Vader and Luke. The other way of using the world between worlds that Disney and Lucasfilm are going to do with this series is that they're also going to use it as a way to retcon certain aspects of the sequel trilogy movies and other past Star Wars films as well. And I think that the retcons for the sequels are going to be more favored, because a lot of fans have always wanted to see change in the lore of those stories, and exactly how that's going to be done in the Ahsoka series is going to be a big deal. So, John and Dave, I think that at the end of the day, they know that they couldn't change anything with Vader and Luke's duel. You couldn't change their fates, otherwise it would really upset a lot of fans. But at the same exact time, they have their own way of changing it from our perspective, not necessarily the fight itself. They're going to be giving us different angles, they're going to be giving us a more modern version of the fight, they're going to also be giving us brand new dialogue between father and son that we have never seen before. I think that's another thing to really, stay aware of, is the fact that John and Dave are making it clear to the fans that they're going to show us exactly what was happening in that duel when it cuts back to that moment where Han, Leia, the droids, Lando, etc. are doing their thing on their end. You guys may recall that in Empire, during Luke and Vader's duel, there are moments where it cuts back to other characters. Basically what John and Dave are doing is that they are filling in those moments and giving us brand new takes on the duel, while also giving us what we have already seen. So it's going to be a mixture of old and new and everything. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.